My wife began growing distant when I got sick, and after sleuthing I found out that she was betraying me in the worst way possible. So I slowly ruined her life over the next 2 years, and on Christmas morning I revealed everything I had done and destroyed her. I'm not really sure where to begin. I guess I used to think we were solid. My wife, Anna, and I had been married for 8 years. We had a rhythm. We weren't flashy, but we were steady. She'd call me her rock, and I'd believed her, when she'd say that we were forever. We met in college. She was funny, sarcastic, brilliant. I was the guy who held her bags while she tried on every sweater in the store and made her laugh during finals when she thought she'd fail. It was real. I know it was real, until it wasn't. 2.5 years ago I got sick. Really sick. Diagnosed with a rare autoimmune condition that left me bedridden for weeks. Then months. I lost weight, lost muscle, lost my job. I was vulnerable in a way I hadn't been since I was a kid. And that's when she started pulling away. Slowly, almost imperceptibly. First it was the quiet sighs when she thought I couldn't hear. Then the delayed replies, the missed dinners, the coldness in bed. She started going out more. Just dinner with the girls. Or needed some air. But she never invited me. Stopped asking how I was doing. Stopped bringing me little surprises from the store. She started dressing differently. More makeup, tighter clothes. And always had an excuse for every change. I was too ashamed to ask at first. You don't want to believe the person who used to read to you when you couldn't hold a book is now lying to your face. So I let it slide. Until I couldn't. One night she came home late again. Her lipstick was smudged. I asked who she was with and she said, "Why does it matter? It's not like you're going anywhere." That sentence. That one goddamn sentence. It split something inside me. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling, thinking about everything. Her late nights. Her sudden obsession with going to the gym. The way she started locking her phone when she used to leave it open on the kitchen counter. I knew deep down what was happening, but I didn't want to say the word out loud. Cheating. Adultery. Betrayal. So instead of confronting her, I watched. And I planned. Over the next few weeks, I played the fool. I nodded when she said she needed space. I pretended to sleep when she snuck in after midnight. I even smiled when she showed me pictures from her girls' brunch. The one where I recognized a man's watch on the table. Then I started my own quiet investigation. I wasn't tech-savvy, but pain teaches you how to be resourceful. I bought a second phone, installed software, created a fake email account. Slowly, I started gathering every shred of information I could. I found out his name through her synced iPad. Her messages weren't just romantic, they were vile. She was mocking me, telling him I was a burden, that she wished I would just die, that it won't be long now. I'll never forget the phrase she used in one of the chats. "Once he's gone, I'll be free." I read that one over and over again. I saved the screenshot. That was the night I stopped being a victim. That was the night I became her reckoning. The day I decided not to confront Anna was the day I stopped grieving and started calculating. I wanted to destroy her, but I didn't want it to be fast. No, I wanted it to be slow, surgical. I wanted her to feel every inch of the betrayal she fed me over the course of months. I wanted her to unravel, not in a dramatic movie-style explosion, but in the quiet, suffocating way that only real life can offer. So I waited. First, I needed to know how deep the rot went. His name was Jason. Smug bastard with a shaved head, tacky tribal tattoos, and a used car dealership he ran with his dad. I did my homework. Their conversations showed me that he thought I was practically dead. "She says he can barely move some days," he wrote in one message. "You'll be mine soon, babe. Just hang in there." My hands shook reading that. The man was married too. Yeah. Married. With 2 kids. A hypocrite, liar, scumbag. All wrapped in a discount cologne cloud. So I built a file. A literal file. I gathered their messages. Screenshots. Voice memos. I even used a cheap spy camera to record her walking into Jason's dealership when she claimed she was at her physical therapy appointment. Twice a week, like clockwork, she went there. Sometimes they left together. Sometimes she just stayed in the back room for a couple hours. You can imagine what they were doing. The first step of my revenge? I pretended to get better. I started moving around more, eating better. I forced myself to look stronger, just enough for her to believe I might return to work. I wanted her to think I was crawling back to life, and she did. I saw the flicker of doubt in her eyes, that little panic tremor when I asked if we could reconnect sometime soon. I even booked a fake couples therapy session and canceled last minute, pretending I just didn't feel up to it. The disappointment on her face wasn't for our marriage. It was for the plan she thought was falling into place too slowly. The next step was financial. We had a joint account, but I also had a hidden savings fund from before we got married. She didn't know about it. I quietly moved more of my disability payouts and the little freelance work I was doing into that account. Meanwhile, I started setting up a separate P.O. box, opened a bank account in another town, and began collecting copies of every shared document, titles, insurance policies, wills. I made sure that if this all went nuclear, I wouldn't just survive, I'd win. She didn't notice. She was too busy falling in love with her new life. I let her. She started staying out overnight. Claimed it was girls' weekends with friends. I stopped asking. I played the role of the compliant, emotionally exhausted husband. And I think she loved that, thinking she had all the control. That she had successfully gaslit me into compliance. But every time she left, I gathered more dirt. Emails, calendar appointments. I even installed a keystroke logger on the home laptop. She used the same password for everything. Do you know what it's like to read your wife type, "I wish he would just die already"? Jay? I do. I made a burner Facebook account posing as a woman and added Jason's wife. I made friendly conversation, then slowly started dropping hints. Funny how men always lie about working late, right? I sent a picture, one that Anna had posted privately to Jason. Her in lingerie, his bed behind her. I didn't go nuclear yet, just planted the seed. Let it fester. Jason's wife responded 3 days later. "Who is this? And how do you know my husband?" I never replied. The pressure was starting to build. I could feel it. Anna got jumpy, paranoid. She asked if I was checking her phone. I lied and said no. She started locking her door when she showered. Started deleting her texts faster than she typed them. But it was too late. I already had it all. Then came the final piece of the setup. I updated our life insurance policy. Quietly. Removed her as the primary beneficiary. Replaced her with my sister. Did the same with my pension. I didn't want her to get a single cent. Christmas was coming. I circled it on the calendar. That would be the day. I'd already started pulling back emotionally, letting her notice the distance, letting her wonder why I wasn't breaking down anymore, letting her see a man who had accepted something. But she didn't know what. I wanted her relaxed, comfortable, just smug enough to think she'd won. I spent the entire month wrapping her gift. Not with paper, but with silence. She didn't know it yet, but Christmas would be the last holiday she'd ever smile through. Christmas morning. Snow outside. Coffee brewing. Fire in the hearth. Picture perfect, right? I made her breakfast, eggs the way she liked, toast with that overpriced jam she always insisted on buying. She smiled at me across the table like we were still in love. Like the last 2 years hadn't happened. She leaned in, touched my hand, and said, "You seem better these days." I nodded. "Yeah, I'm finally starting to feel like myself again." She kissed my cheek, told me how proud she was of me. I think she genuinely believed she was going to get away with everything. That she'd dodged the bullet of discovery and would soon walk away with the clean, polished story of having supported her sick husband through his battle and then just drifted apart. No harm, no foul. I told her I had something special for her, but we had to wait until her parents arrived. She lit up at that. "You invited them?" she said. "That's so sweet." Not just her parents. Jason's wife too. That part she didn't know. See, 2 nights before, I finally responded to Jason's wife from the burner account. I sent her everything. Messages, pictures, screenshots, proof. The full dossier. And I told her exactly where to be and when 10 a.m. Christmas morning at our house. I even gave her a script, just knock and ask for your husband. I also invited my sister and a few close friends of Anna's who I knew she'd lied to, about me, about the marriage, about everything. I wanted an audience, a theater for the final act, and I didn't have to wait long. 10:03 a.m. Doorbell rings. Anna's halfway through opening the gift I got her, a necklace. She thought it was a peace offering, a symbol of reconciliation. In a way, it was. She opens the door. Jason's wife is standing there, holding a manila envelope and her phone. Behind her is Jason, looking pale, hungover, and incredibly confused. Anna stutters, What is this? Jason's wife says calmly, just thought you might want to see what your husband's been up to. With mine. Silence. Dead silence. Her parents, who just sat down in the living room, stand up. My sister stops mid-sip of her cocoa. One of Anna's friends whispers, holy shit. Jason tries to play dumb. I don't know what this is, some kind of misunderstanding. I finally speak. First time that morning I'd raised my voice above a whisper. No misunderstanding, Jason. It's just time to tell the truth. I stand up, walk to the bookshelf, and pull out a black binder. I hand it to Anna. Here's every lie you ever told me. Every time you said you were out with friends but were this guy instead. Every word, every photo, every betrayal. Merry Christmas. She flips it open. First page, her texts to Jason, laughing about how pathetic I was in bed since getting sick. Second page, a photo of them together at his dealership. Third, screenshots of them mocking me while planning their next hotel rendezvous. Jason's wife slaps him. Anna starts crying. I mean ugly crying. She tries to close the binder, but I hold it open in front of her. No, you don't get to hide now. You've been hiding for 2 years. You've been stealing my life, my trust, my peace. You don't get to cry your way out of this. She begs me to stop. So I do. I walk to the coffee table and hand her an envelope. What's this? She sobs. Divorce papers. I already filed. Your name's not on the house anymore. Not on the accounts. You'll be moving out by the end of the week. She looks to her parents. Her mom's just staring at the floor. Her dad won't meet her eyes. Oh, and one more thing, I add. You remember how you said once you'll be free soon? Well, you are. Completely. Free. Of everything. I tell her friends the truth about how she's been lying for years. How she told them I was emotionally abusive so she could cover her tracks. One of them says I feel sick. Jason's wife thanks me. She says I didn't want to believe it. But now I know. Jason tries to leave, but I stop him. Hey, before you go, your wife has something for you. She throws a manila envelope at his chest. Divorce papers. Guess we were on the same schedule. Anna finally collapses onto the couch, shaking. You ruined my life. No, I say. You ruined your own. I just helped everyone see it. The house empties slowly. No one says goodbye to her. She's still sitting there when I go upstairs to pack a bag. I don't look back. I didn't go back downstairs after that. I zipped up my bag, grabbed the envelope with my post office key, and walked out the back door while she was still crying on the couch. I left the Christmas tree lit, the half-eaten breakfast on the table, the torn wrapping paper like a crime scene frozen in time. And it was a crime scene, just not one with blood. The body was trust. The weapon was her. I drove to my sister's house, where I'd already arranged to stay. She opened the door, didn't say a word, just hugged me so tight I thought my ribs would crack. She'd known bits and pieces of what I'd uncovered, but I'd kept the full scope to myself. That morning, she got the whole show, and honestly, I think she was more furious than I was. Meanwhile, the fallout began. First came the messages. Dozens. From Anna. From numbers I didn't recognize. Then blocked ones. Voicemails. Some were sobbing apologies. Others were pure venom. You blindsided me. You humiliated me in front of my parents. You orchestrated this like a psychopath. Damn right I did. By that evening, our mutual friends had either gone radio silent or reached out with some variation of, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. Turns out, people don't like being lied to for 2 years straight. Who knew? One of her friends, Sarah, texted me. She told us you were emotionally unstable, that you were delusional and paranoid, that you fabricated things. I can't believe how much she twisted it. She even said you were faking your illness. That one hit me harder than I expected. Faking my illness. Jesus Christ. While I was losing weight, struggling to walk, sleeping in 2-hour bursts because of the pain, she was telling people I was putting on a show. What kind of sociopath does that? Jason's wife, Amanda, stayed in touch. We compared notes. Turns out they'd been sneaking around since I first got diagnosed. So more than 2 years. possibly longer. They even took a trip to the coast once, under the guise of business. He told her he had a dealership conference. She told me it was a work retreat with her company. Meanwhile, they were getting room service and playing house while I was puking from meds and curled up on the bathroom floor. 3 days after Christmas, she texted me again. Just one word, please. I didn't respond. She showed up at my sister's door that night. My niece answered, bless her heart, and said, my uncle doesn't want to talk to you, and closed the door in her face. Kids got the spine of a dragon. The next day, I sent a formal cease and desist letter through my attorney. She'd be served officially within the week. I didn't want any more of her chaos bleeding into my life. Not again. And still, the fallout kept rolling. Jason, fired. Turns out Amanda sent the same package of evidence to his employer, who didn't like that one of their sales managers was using work trips to cheat on his wife with a married woman. Corporate morality is fake, but bad PR is real. Anna? Her job didn't fire her, but the whispers started. One of her coworkers texted me from a burner account. She's been walking around like a ghost. No one will even sit with her at lunch anymore. It's like she died socially. Good. I didn't even have to say anything. I planted the truth and let it grow like poison ivy. Silent. Creeping. I just kept my hands clean. She tried messaging my family. Even my mom, who she'd always treated like an afterthought, told her I was being cruel and letting my bitterness turn me into someone unrecognizable. My mom's response? He's the most himself I've seen him in years. That one made me cry, if I'm honest, because I was finally myself again. Not just because I got revenge, but because I finally reclaimed something I didn't even know I'd lost. My dignity. I got my appetite back, started running again, saw a physical therapist and a grief counselor, booked a solo trip to Maine, where I just walked along the coast for hours with no one texting me, "Where are you?" or lying to my face about girls' night. I slept with the windows open. No lies in the bed beside me. Just the wind, and me, and the deep, quiet relief of finally being free. 2 months passed. 60 days of silence from Anna, well, silence that I could hear. I know she was still talking, still spinning, still trying to rewrite the story like she always did. I just wasn't listening anymore. I'd moved out completely by then into a modest little townhouse I rented across town. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Clean slate. No memories baked into the drywall. No bed soaked in betrayal. I picked out every piece of furniture with intent, minimal, peaceful, quiet. I kept the walls bare for weeks. It felt like breathing again. Then I got the letter. It wasn't from Anna, it was from her lawyer. She was contesting the divorce terms. Said she wanted a larger share of our joint assets. Claimed emotional distress, said I'd created a hostile environment and inflicted public humiliation. She even listed the Christmas Day reveal as deliberate psychological sabotage. I laughed. Actually laughed. First time in weeks. But my lawyer didn't laugh. He just looked at me over the desk and said, "She's not done with you yet." She wasn't. She tried to weaponize the humiliation. Claimed I'd been recording her without consent, tried to get the judge to disqualify some of the evidence I had. Fortunately, she didn't understand the law. Everything I had was legal. Every photo, every message, every screenshot was fair game, either sent through joint property, obtained from open accounts, or handed to me by Jason's wife. She was flailing. And people were watching. That's the thing about blowing up a lie in public. You can't put it back together in private. Her story changed too many times. She told her coworkers I had a mental breakdown. Told her parents I had become abusive. Told her best friend that she was the victim because I was cold and distant during my illness. But I had the receipts. And the people she lied to? They started talking to each other. It unraveled fast. I heard from Sarah again, her old friend, the one who'd reached out right after Christmas. She's lost almost everyone. Nobody trusts a word she says anymore. She had a full-on meltdown at brunch last week and blamed you for everything, like you cast a spell on her life or something. I hadn't said her name out loud in weeks. It was weird hearing it again. Like saying the name of a dead language. She tried texting me again. This time it wasn't anger or guilt, it was pity. Like she pitied me. I know you think you won, but you lost your wife. I hope you realize that one day. I stared at that message for a full 5 minutes. Then I typed one sentence. I didn't lose my wife. I just finally saw who she really was. Blocked the number. Again. And yet she kept trying. Her final Hail Mary came in the form of a mutual friend, Jen, who called me just to talk and then casually dropped, "Anna says she's in therapy now. That she's changed. She just hopes you don't carry this bitterness forever." Bitterness? Is that what they call it? Because to me it felt more like clarity. Like finally wiping a dirty mirror clean and seeing my own face again after years of fog. Anna didn't change. She got exposed. There's a difference. And I think what really killed her inside wasn't that I left, it was how I left. I didn't burn everything down. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just quietly handed her the box of everything she'd done, set it in her lap, and walked away. That's what crushed her. People like Anna thrive in confusion. In half-truths and fog. They keep you disoriented, doubting, on edge. But the moment you pull back the curtain, they melt. By month 3, the divorce was finalized. The judge sided with me on every count. I kept the house. Most of the savings. I didn't ask for alimony. Didn't want a penny of hers, not that she had much left. Jason ghosted her after losing his job. She tried calling Amanda to apologize, to bond over their mutual betrayal. Amanda hung up. She was completely alone. And me? I was healing. Some nights were still hard, not gonna lie. It's not easy unlearning years of loyalty. I'd wake up thinking I heard her footsteps on the stairs. Or that I smelled her perfume in the hallway. But every time it faded. Just echoes. Ghosts. I started writing again. I joined a local group of guys who'd been through similar stuff: cheating, betrayal, manipulation. We met weekly over coffee and talked about things we never got to say out loud before. No bullshit. No pretending. Just raw honesty. It saved me. Because when someone gaslights you for years, you start believing you're crazy. That you're the problem. But sitting across from a man with the same scars? You realize you're not alone. And you're not broken. Just healing.